we got to turn our attention to the Atlantic Coast Conference. He's trying to wipe them off the map. He's trying to relegate them outside of the FBS. But we have a game of significance, stakes, and honestly, kind of interest. Could be a fun game. Pitt going down to Bobby Dodd Stadium in Atlanta to take on Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's defensive issues have not been fixed. Yeah. Boston College running up the score, nearly knocking off Georgia Tech. Yellow Jackets lucky to escape with a win in that one. Obviously, CJ Bailey and NC State tore them up the week before. Now here comes Mason Heinschel and a Pitt offense that was especially early in that game just put in the sleeper hold by Notre Dame. So Danny, are you seeing a Pitt bounce back or a response where they're going to be able to not let one loss become two, try to catch their rhythm and maybe go in and take advantage of a weakness for Georgia Tech that I don't know if there's an easy fix there?
No. Brent Key talked to him on Monday. He came on our radio show and we were asking, like, what'd you say at halftime? And he's like, I may have thrown some things. And so we were like, well, what'd you throw? And he's like, I don't know. He's like, I was throwing everything I get my hands on. He's like, he said, there's lucky there wasn't a little DB right there. I might have thrown a little DB back across the room. And I mean, we see his press conference was going viral after where he was like, we just won. I mean, all year long, he has said this team, but I think he's specifically talking about his defense, is going to give him a heart attack. Like, I think he just goes into every game. He did tell us, he said he thinks it's all assignments. You know, he said like the team isn't lining up in the right place. I think there's something to that, but there's also, I do think the personnel is not great either. So I think it's a combination of both. So then it puts a lot of stress on the offense, who's been awesome. Haynes King has put this team on his back time and time again. And I remember watching the Boston College game being like, is he going to get the chance? Because at some point you're like, can they even get off the field? Right. And Boston College could not close it out. And he was given that opportunity. Do you guys think I'm crazy?
Yes.
Yes. Do you guys think I'm crazy to say that Pitt's defense actually played pretty good against Notre Dame?
No, I don't think that's crazy at all.
Because that's to me, what's the thing to watch out for? Because like the point total's high at 61.5, and Dusty's calling the game, and he said, "Oh man, I think it's gonna be a shootout." I don't know if Georgia Tech's gonna move the ball like the way they've been moving against this Pitt defense. So that becomes an interesting scenario. Like I don't. It's kind of something I'm keeping an eye on, because I think Pitt's defense is pretty good. And then to your question about Mason Heinschel, he had, and I was talking to AJ McCarron about this, while we were reacting to the game as it was unfolding. Sometimes you don't have to look at the stat line. And I thought the pick six, like Mason Heinschel, was kind of done. Like it was the knockout blow, not only to the game, but to his confidence. And then he was just off all day. That to me is, can he regain it against this Georgia Tech defense, which is really bad? So that's kind of a storyline to keep an eye out for. But I think Pitt's defense is the thing that probably concerns me if I'm a Georgia Tech fan. You're going to give up points. But can you get in a shootout?
Jeremiah Love hit that one Pitt defender with the spin move that kind of, opened the field up for the long run. I don't have their success rate pulled up, but anecdotally, it did not feel as though Notre Dame was shredding.
Right.
Yeah,
Pitt's
it was
defense.
more efficient than it was destroying.
Yeah. What do you think, Tom?
First of all, to answer your slanderous allegations at the start of this segment, I'm a Virginia Tech fan now, so I love the ACC. I think it's a tremendous league, and I can't wait until my Hokies win it for the next decade. As for this game in particular, both these teams are lucky not to be facing my Hokies, but I do think one of the interesting aspects, and we've touched on it already, is like I don't trust the Georgia Tech defense. I don't think it's god awful either. Like, obviously, the last two games, it has been single-ply toilet paper tough. Like, it's just been getting run through. And it wasn't exactly like they were playing the cream of the crop. Like, I'm not going to make excuses for getting destroyed by NC State and Boston College. But the fact of the matter is, while it hasn't been good, Georgia Tech's defense has been pretty much average at home in these last two games around the road. So returning to home for this game, I think we will probably see a better performance from this defense just based on what we've seen from it at home all year. I also think we will see a better performance from the Pitt offense this year. But my concern with Pitt is still the same concern I had going into last week and why I was not very high on them in last week's game. They have very good numbers statistically, but they've also been playing a lot of dog doo-doo teams, which kind of inflates those numbers. And we saw, like, they didn't give up a ton of big plays to Notre Dame, and they did a decent job. Like, I don't think Pitt's a bad defense at all. I just don't know if it's as good as its numbers. I think it's more of an above average defense. So going up against this Georgia Tech offense, which has shown an ability to move the ball and put points on the board, the interesting aspect to me is nobody runs zone coverage more often than Pitt. They are the highest zone rate in coverage than any other team in the country, which going up against Haynes King has an impact because if you look at his numbers against zone, they're good, but they're also more dinky and dunky. And they don't really, I think he's thrown like 2 touchdowns all year against zone, despite having, seeing it 2/3 of the time, whereas most of his touchdowns have come against man. So we're going to see that. It's going to limit him as a passer. But at the same time, Pitt's pass rush, like, to get pressure on a quarterback, they do a lot of zone blitzing. If you blitz Haynes King and he gets away, that's going to be a problem for you because he's shown the ability. I mean, obviously, he's very good on designed runs, but when things break down and lanes open up, he's also very good at just picking up 15 to 20 yards on you and getting the first down and keeping the drive going. So, to me, if I'm Pitt, my focus in this game will be to play zone to make sure Haynes King has to dink and dunk, and then also just keep him in the pocket. Don't really go after him so much. Just keep him in the pocket and force him to read it, go through it, and make the throws. Because if you make Georgia Tech have to go 8, 9, 10 plays and then get him in the red zone, they might not be nearly as effective. So I don't think Pitt's offense is going to be great in this game. I do think their defense can do enough to limit Georgia Tech. So I don't know if this is going to be the shootout maybe that everybody expects it to be.
I'm not going to act like I'm up on the chalkboard, drawing this all out. But with the athleticism of Pitt's linebackers, is that a spy situation, or is that just like maybe you like change your aggressiveness just so that you're at least giving Haynes King the pause where if he doesn't see that first read or if he's not seeing the field, you're not giving him the open space that might happen if you were sending the linebackers more aggressively?
I'm not spying him on every snap because that makes it very easy for an offense. If they know what one guy's assignment is going to be every single snap, you can exploit the hell out of it. I do think you'll see him spied a bit, but I don't think it's going to be a spy situation as much as it's going to be for my pass rushers. Don't get too far up the field. Don't cut inside. Just treat your pass rush like it's run defense. Maintain your gaps. Don't give him the space to go through. Force him to run around and give my linebackers time to chase him towards the sideline so he can't get huge chunks.